Undeniable, the road to the Under Armour All-America game.
You know, even though we were out there shooting, putting in the work, we were still always messing around, doing stuff. You know, there was always times where you'd make fun of someone for shooting a certain way, or like when Shaq was younger, he would shoot and it was not going very fast, and we all like would start laughing. And we'd have to be like, you have to stop shooting because we can't get serious right now.
A couple weeks ago, I scored a goal, and Steele and I were talking about it, and he was like, say goodbye to that. You'll never score that goal in college.
Shaq's gonna learn next year from going from high school to college that every team's defender, you know, they were their team's best defender in high school. They were a high school All-American. You're gonna have to have a short memory and be able to come back and, you know, go against them again on that next play. And I think that's something that a lot of the really good players in college lacrosse have today.
This fall, Shaq will join his brother Wells, a senior at Johns Hopkins University. Wells is coming off a great season in which he led the Blue Jays in points.
It was a big part of my decision. You know, having a year with him at Boys Latin was really cool. And when I was looking at schools for college, I always thought it would have been a cool experience to play with him one more time. Ultimately, I love the school.
He really had great recruiting experiences everywhere he went. Everything was pretty much equal. Finally, he just said, well, I think it's going to be Hopkins. And, you know, we didn't want to say, oh, that's fabulous, because now you'd be with Wells. We really wanted it to be his decision.
Sheehan and her younger sister, Wick, were teammates for 2 years at Georgetown University. The two experienced much success on the field.
There's a different relationship you can have with a sibling. It's kind of cliche, but you could read what the other person was going to do. It's a neat thing to watch. I hope I'll get to see them play a lot together.
We know how each other plays since our games are similar. If he's doing something, I can usually tell what he's going to do. I can react to it.
The Stanwick family has received All-American honors 15 times at the collegiate level.
You know, the Stanwick family is a pretty interesting group. You know, 8 kids, all Division I athletes, all, you know, pretty talented and have competed at a very high level in their sport, whether it's men or women's lacrosse.
Really, the Stanwicks are the creme de la creme when it comes to the Baltimore genre, if you will, of lacrosse. The elegance, the stick work, the IQ.
It's just something you can't teach. Skills you can practice and you can work on. Shooting you can practice, dodging you can practice, but having that innate sense is something that's developed over years and years and years, and he has, it appears they all seem to have it.
It's a family of excellence when it comes to being on the lacrosse field. Each of them seems to inspire the other, cultivate the other, really bring each other along. They're a tight-knit group, they're a tight-knit family. Each of them passes down their experience to help the other that's coming up.
The Stanwick children attribute much of their success to their parents' great support.
2 seasons ago, we had 100 games. We had 3 in college, and Shaq was in high school. We played at Townsendtown, so it was up and down Charles Street all week long.
She just supported us the whole way. You know, she was always at every game, always willing to take us to practice, pick us up, take us to games. All over the Eastern Seaboard, you know, she loves it too. She enjoys going to each game.
The secret is really my husband. He is focused on them. He doesn't play golf. He works on this house and on those kids, and he's available to them. He'll play at night after work. Sometimes he doesn't get home till 9 or 10. They'll say they want to work on something. He'll be right out there working with them.
I just want the kids to have fun doing what they like to do.
I think lacrosse was what made our relationship so strong. Every time we went out and shop, we'd go with him, just talk, kind of have some alone time. He cares so much about us and the game that he just wants to keep making us better. It's definitely made our relationship that much better.
Before every game, whoever is playing, at whatever level, we have a family text and they will all chime in, have a good game. They all are very aware of each other's schedules and what they're doing that day.
As he enters Johns Hopkins, expectations will be high for Shaq to perform at a level synonymous with the Stanwick name.
You hear the name Stanwick, and right away, you have a bullseye on your back. Everybody wants to see if you're just as good as, if not better, than your siblings. I can't imagine what it's like to have 7 older brothers and sisters that have all played Division I lacrosse and have all done very, very well.
I think they've all had a bit of pressure. I don't like it, but they are used to it. But I think he will have pressure going into this as a freshman. I think he'll feel a little bit of the heat.
A lot of the Blue Jay faithful are hanging their hat on Shaq Stanwick as being a leader, stepping on the field from day one and really contributing and getting the Blue Jays back to the national semifinals.
It definitely creeps in sometimes, but as a player, you got to forget it. You know, that's part of being mature and go out there and work a little harder.
The thing that amazes me, maybe more so than the fact that they've got tremendous ability, it's kind of people they are. You know, there's a word that we use a lot around our locker room, and it's humility. And, you know, mom and dad should be commended on how they raise their kids. All of them have a great sense of humility.
I've always tried to treat people how I would want to be treated, and, you know, that's something we've always instilled in our children. It's the golden rule, right?
You look at him, he's the #1 recruit according to Inside Lacrosse. He's an Under Armour All-American. He's just a guy who at every level has met the expectations and has exceeded the expectations. He's got a God-given gift, and he's made the most of it and worked really hard to make himself the best he can be.
Looking forward to meeting all the guys that are going to Hopkins in my class. It's kind of something I've always wanted to do growing up. You know, to play there for 4 years and get one with my brother is something really cool.
Our sport's changed in so many ways. The expectations of these young men and young women now has changed. The level of work that's being put in by many of these young people today is dramatically different, at least than when I played.
It's a training regimen. It's a full-time job. These kids are working out constantly. They're physical specimens.
Basketball has always had the McDonald's All-American game and football as the Under Armour All-American game. We're showcasing our sport.
We'll be the best players, best seniors in the country. It puts an emphasis on how far the game's spread. You can see those guys that are from the different states that don't get the kind of press that Long Island schools or Maryland schools get.
I'd always been infatuated by, the Under Armour senior game, and it's such an honor and it was such a privilege to be recognized in that way.
It's very competitive. Kids have a lot of pride for their regions and areas, and they're really competing to represent where they're from.
I've had the pleasure of calling 7 Under Armour All-American games, and I can tell you it is an event that is second to none. It is a real badge of honor to become an Under Armour All-American.
These All-American games give fans a chance to see players that are going to their school. You give fans an opportunity to kind of get a glimpse of what's to be for their team in the future and who's arriving on campus. For me as a coach, I got to tell you, I love the game. It gives me a chance to watch them against the best of the best of the best.
Presented by Corrigan Sports Enterprises. Events from conception to fruition. Produced by Jalbert Productions International.